Welcome back to Real Milwaukee. Well, if you got carried away with your holiday shopping, you are so not alone.
Yeah, a lot of us are, but don't beat yourself up about it. Local financial advisor Brad Allen from Drake & Associates joins us with some tips on how to get back on track so we don't have to wait till the new year. We can start right now.
That's right.
Yeah. So first of all, half shoppers say that they are still paying for debt from last year.
Yeah.
It's that endless
For the
debt cycle,
holidays,
right?
last
from
holidays.
last holiday.
So a lot of people use credit cards for the holidays,
Yeah.
and they rack up all these credit card bills, and you start paying them off in January, and maybe you get close to or pay them off right before the next holiday, but then it goes through again, and you're constantly just going through the cycle of paying off this debt. So today we just want to talk about, what are the best strategies to pay off holiday debt?
Assess the damage, you say.
Yeah, assess the damage. So you kind of go through all your receipts, and you just go through, what did I spend? So that does two things. Number one, it gives you kind of a goal of what you want to put away for next year. Maybe you start saving in cash.
Right, so you can see what you did, you can plan to do.
Right, yep. And then the second thing, it shows you how much you've spent, right? So that allows you to kind of figure out a plan of how you want to tackle the debt going into the new year.
So I know how much that I have to pay off.
Exactly.
Right.
So how do you tackle
Well, the
what are the
easiest and
strategies?
simple, I shouldn't say simple, but the best way to do it is get rid of the cards for a little while, the credit cards, right? And that's hard to do because just think about
I
how
know.
easy
I'm
it
just
is.
like, where are they going? Yeah.
How easy it is just to swipe the card.
Too
and
easy,
You don't see the money going out of your account until you get that statement, and you're like, wow, I spent more money than I thought I would. So maybe just carry around cash in a wallet, and you can actually see the money going out. So
And you won't let as much go out. You can't.
I don't, but when I do, you're more mindful of where it's going.
And maybe it's that shopping trip or the coffee run, or you're just not spending as much because you're watching it go out for the week or the month, however much you took out. It just makes you stay on track a little bit easier.
Okay, and then you say decide a strategy, and this piqued my interest because I never know, like, do I do the highest amount that I owe or the lowest amount?
It's hard, right? Because you might have 4 different credit cards and each one has a different balance and a different interest rate on it. So there's 2 different methods to paying off credit card debt. The first one is going to be what they call the Avalanche Method. And the Avalanche Method says take those 4 cards, look at the interest rates on each one, and take the highest interest rate card and throw as much money as you can at that card every single month.
So not the balance, look at the interest rate.
Right. And then you pay the minimum balances on all the other 3, but you're throwing as much money as you can at that highest interest rate. And once that's paid off, you move to the next highest interest rate.
Oh.
Right? So that's a good method to use. The other method is what they call the snowball method. And that's going to be maybe a little bit better for a lot of people because it creates a little bit more momentum and wins earlier on. But you take the lowest balance out of those 4, and you throw everything at that lowest balance that you can and make the minimum payment.
Not the interest,
but the balance,
the
total balance.
Right.
And
And then when that's paid off, you
better
move to the
because you're
next
like, oh,
one.
I paid off one.
But I hear you saying, whichever way you go, that you are attacking them one at a time.
That's right. You're creating a plan. And just having that plan ahead of time. And, one of the most important things to really get started is creating a budget for yourself and knowing what's going out on a monthly basis. Because once you know what's going out for the mortgage, the rent, the food, the gas, all those fixed expenses, you can figure out how much extra income that you have to throw at that debt and kind of come up with a plan for it. So it's really just about planning ahead of time and then coming up with a strategy and sticking to that strategy throughout the year.
You also recommend balance transfer, and I think this is a little tricky.
It can be. Yeah, it's not for everybody. But if you're really trying to pay it off quickly or you really want to come up with a solid plan, a balance transfer might be the way to go because you have all those different cards. Maybe they all have different interest rates on them, but you have one that has a lower interest rate. If you can transfer those balances to the lower interest rate, you're not paying as much interest over time.
But you've got to be serious, though, about...
And you can't go back and use those cards that you transferred to balance.
Correct. And there might be some fees involved with it, so you want to know all the ins and outs ahead of time, but it might be a good strategy for some folks.
All right. And so what do you do to avoid this for next year?
That's the hard part, right? I mean, you don't want to keep going through that cycle. So starting to put money away starting in January, and maybe it's $10 or $20 a month. It comes down to going back to what you spent this year, and that's your goal number to save for next year. So kind of break that down on a monthly basis and start putting money away. What I like to tell people is find a family member or find a friend that's kind of in that same boat and kind of create like a competition out of it. And you go back and forth and say, this is how much I saved this month, how much did you save? And if it's a competition, at least least for me, I know I want to win, and it keeps you on target throughout the year.
We're talking about holiday debt, but this is applicable for life.
For life, yeah. I work a lot in retirement planning, and retirees really have to budget, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have any income coming in. You're working on a fixed income now, and you really have to plan out ahead of time and accordingly on how you're going to do that. So,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing it.
Yeah,
It's a
thanks for
good thing
having
that happiness doesn't cost a thing, isn't it?
Right.
that's right.
It's free. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, short break. We'll be right back.